my book, my debut novel, is called Nasty Secrets. It's one of those few books that's been written in the genre of speculative fiction. Speculative fiction is basically an area which permits you to fuse different genres and put them together in one umbrella bracket. So what I have incorporated is science fiction, mystery and romance, and put them together, blend them together and try to weave a story out of it. The science fiction aspect is that part where one of the characters, who is a scientist, he is a scientist with a lot of potential. He comes up with this amazing idea of trying to of trying this thing of having life expansion for human beings, how a simple method, a simple solution that he offers to the world can enable one to live longer than their the number of years that they have. And he tries it out on he lab tests it on animals and things, and it works out. So when he goes for the human trials, that is where it goes wrong. So it goes disastrously wrong. So that's your science fiction aspect of it. So the book is called Nasty Secrets because each character in the novel, each major character in the novel has a nasty secret. So so the outcome of this particular scientist's experiment is his nasty secret. The romance angle is basically our lead characters, Jared and Shalisha, who are teenagers, and they have nasty secrets of their own, and like any other young person in their mid-teens, they are not able to deal with the harsh realities of life and decide to escape. So they elope from their respective places, and they find I'm not getting the word for it, but they go to this place which has been abandoned for many years. So they think they can build a world of their own over there, and they think they can start a new life together and leave all their problems behind. But what they don't know, that this place is the same place which was destroyed a lot of years ago by that same scientist. Well, there's a lot of generation gap between the scientist and these kids, and we're talking about 3 different generations over here, because while we're also talking about these kids and we have the scientist, we also have the kids' parents which come in. So there are like 3 different generations, but it all happens in one time frame. So when we come to talking about the scientist, or we come to talking about certain other things, it moves back and forth. So there's like a flashback happening, and certain things come out through diary entries, certain things come out through somebody recalling some stuff, and it's like you go into their memory and you see it through their perspective of what they remember it as. So it's like that. No, it's basically the 3 lead characters, the 2 lovebirds, Jared and Shalisha, and their best friend, Rodney. These are our main lead characters. The central character is, however, the scientist, Dr. Morphew. He's the one who who had that disastrous experiment. But an offshoot of that experiment is that he gains certain superhuman abilities. So basically, he's the one who strings the entire story together. So though there are 3 characters and their lives are 3 different things, it's he and how his acts basically lead to one setting to another setting, and he strings the entire story together. When I started writing, I had only mystery in mind, But when I started, I mean, when I constructed the skeleton for the plot, like, you know, like this is going to be the beginning, this is going to be the middle, this is going to be the end. But as and when you start writing it, you get a lot of other ideas. And I thought, you know, there is a lot of potential for this to go in this direction and that to go in that direction. And, you know, I can't completely ignore the romantic aspect of it. You know, there has to be some depth in that. At the same time, I can't just use a thing saying that, you know, this is an experiment and this is how it went wrong and blah blah blah. I have to explain to the reader, I have to make it convincing to the reader that, you know, this can be done, this thing can be possible, and, you know, an experiment like this can be conducted in such a situation using these components and blah blah blah. So that's how it started going in different directions. But at the same time, I had to also make sure that it doesn't go haywire, that, you know, even if it's going in so many different directions, it has to come back at one particular point, and, you know, all of those have to meet at that point, so that I have a proper definite ending. So that's how, you know, from the exposition I somehow managed to get it to the resolution. That is another nasty secret. So you'll have to buy the book to find that out. I used to read a lot of fantasy fiction novels, you know, as a kid, like Harry Potter and your Lord of the Rings and your C.S. Lewis, you know, all these things. So I was always, you know, like amazed and at the same time curious of how can so many things happen. So I wanted to write something like that, but at the same time I didn't like want to move away from, you know, your real life. Like what happens with The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, which is Narnia, is that they're regular people in a regular setting, okay, in a regular world, who through a portal go into a fantasy world, which is the same with Harry Potter, you know. He's a regular boy in a regular world, and you know, through 9 3/4 he goes into the King's Cross, and, you know, and of course there's Hogwarts, of course. So I wanted to keep that. I kept that in mind. I didn't want it to be like something which is totally fantasy and, you know, totally like you have your Lord of the Rings. So that's what I thought in mind, you know, like if I write something, it's going to be like that. It's going to be regular people in a regular world, how they go into a not so regular setting and experience something which is not natural.